return after the trade that shook up the world this past offseason. And uncharted waters for the Spurs, no pieces from their last title team. However, DeMar DeRozan has been a welcome addition, leads the Spurs in scoring and assists. San Antonio is in contention for a playoff spot in the West. And there you see Oracle. Two teams that won 7 games last season in the Western Conference Finals meet again tonight for the second time. Houston blew the doors off the Warriors the first time earlier this season. Now the Hot Rockets look to do the same tonight, led by their reigning MVP. Speaking of reigning MVP, you do not see him on the screen. The early returns for All-Star Weekend are in. The first ballots made by the fans, and as you see, LeBron is in the lead with a number of others, but no James Harden. Nevertheless, you're rocking with the best. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you are here with us. We appreciate that. Ro Parrish, Kenny the Jet Smith, Game Time Live. We're going to talk plenty about that with Shaquille O'Neal, who'll join us, and Kenny to get their thoughts on the early All-Star selections. But nevertheless, it's a pretty big game, and a pretty big regular season game. Kawhi going home to play the Spurs. Your thoughts?
As much as we're talking about Kawhi, let's not forget about DeMar. Playing against your former team is a special moment, home or away. For Kawhi, it's funny because when I got traded from Sacramento, and the first time I went back, at halftime I was running in, I was excited, and I started going back into the locker room the other way. It's just the habits that you form over 3-4 years, 2 or 3 years, and you form these habits of game preparation. So I know for Kawhi, like being in a hotel in San Antonio, coming to the team bus and driving up, that is an awkward feeling. No matter how you slice it, you start to think about your normal routine, as many years as he had been there, is being disrupted, being in that city. So that's an interesting feeling. And for DeMar, seeing his former teammates, on the other end of the court, laying up, and both guys they want to stick it to them in certain senses. This is, no matter how they say, oh, it's just another game, this is one of 82. No, I'm going to let you know that where I am is better than where you are. The grass is greener under my feet. That's where the grass is greener.
Well, it's as green as that suit right there.
No
Looking
doubt.
good, by the way. So, Toronto Raptors play-by-play ace Matt Devlin joins Game Time. Hey, Matty D. So the Raptors, as I turn to camera 3, they're off to the best start in franchise history, matching last year's record out the gate. Kawhi putting up 30 points per game, shooting 51% over his last 14. Now, do you personally get the feeling that Kawhi has had this date circled on the calendar?
How could he not have it circled, right? As Kenny just spoke to, you're coming back, a place where you've had a tremendous amount of success. He talked about it earlier today. When you look back about the memories are from the postseason and the success that they had, winning a Finals MVP in 2014. So I think, of course, he did have it circled, and he's playing right now the best basketball that he has played up until this point of this season, coming off of a career-high 45. You can see his game just continues to get better after playing only 9 games last season for San Antonio. But he's had special moments here. And so you come back here, you look around, you see all the same faces. I would imagine he had this circled early on.
So as a player, it seems like this fit has been a glove-like one. Personally, has he exceeded your expectations and all of Toronto so far, seeing the level at which he's played?
Well, number one, when you think about Kawhi Leonard, I think everybody understands he's a top 5 player in the league, arguably the best two-way player in the NBA. So exceeding expectations, I think it has more to do with just getting yourself 100%. Coming back from an injury-plagued season as it was a season ago for him. But he has been as advertised, right? And if you're the Toronto Raptors, how do you get a player that is a franchise-caliber player, that's a top 5 player? Well, he was injured last year. He didn't want to stay here in San Antonio. And then you're willing to give up a great player, a 4-time All-Star in DeMar DeRozan. So he is who I think everybody expected him to be. He is a franchise player, and Kawhi Leonard showed that in the last game when he had a career-high 45, that the Raptors needed his 45 to beat the Utah Jazz.
You know what? We've heard a lot about the conversation that Pop has had about him not being a leader. And then and he responding saying, hey, they forget when you're not on the floor. Have we heard anything about his reception to Pop at the start of the game? Have we talked about that? Has anyone said, he mentioned what he might do prior to the game? Is he going to go and make a special hello? Yeah. Or is he going to just go like business as usual?
You know, it's a great question, Kenny. Nobody has really asked that specifically. They are scheduled, obviously, to do a video tribute to not only Kawhi, but also Danny Green, who was an integral part of what the San Antonio Spurs were able to accomplish here. It is going to be interesting to watch that. I don't know that Kawhi knows at this time what ultimately his emotions are going to bring him to do prior to the start of the game. It is, I think, what everybody, Kenny, is waiting for, right? What is going to be the reception here? Greg Popovich, as we know, has come out and said that, you know, he would hope that they would appreciate all the years that he put in here. But we also understand that there's still some open wounds here because he did something that no other great San Antonio player did. He made the decision that he did not want to be here. And that is nothing that has been done before when you think about all these great San Antonio Spurs team, the dynasty that is San Antonio, starting with David Robinson and through Tim Duncan and all the other players that we could name. So it's going to be very intriguing to watch this play out tonight.
Of course, DeMar DeRozan made that decision to stay, and one of the people who was most upset about that was Kyle Lowry. Now, we've seen he's struggled with injuries, missed 8 of the last 9. The Raptors have managed to stay above 500 without him in the lineup. What's his injury situation? What's the update?
Well, right now he participated in shoot-around. He was out on the court earlier. He is questionable for this evening. I'm sure we're going to get a late word as to whether or not he will go. But I think deep down inside, he really wants to play tonight. Now, whether or not he will, we'll have to wait and see. He did just get a couple of injections in his lower back this past Friday at the Hospital of Special Surgery in New York City. So he is trying to get back. He was going hard while he was out here, and hopefully for the Toronto Raptors, he is a go. And I'm sure the first time that he sees his former teammate in DeMar DeRozan, he's going to, from a competitor, and if you know Kyle Lowry, he's a competitor, he's going to want to be out there on the floor going up against DeMar.
Can't wait to see what happens tonight. Thank you for joining us, Matty. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it. I'm all about that green suit, too. The Jet, man, that looks good, man.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
Of course, nothing like that green. Green is for the money, baby.
No doubt.
Always money is Kenny the Jet
Cash rules
Smith.
everything around me.
Cream, get the money.
Dollar bill, y'all.
That's what we do right here on Game Time. So the first early fan vote is in for the 68th All-Star Weekend in Charlotte. Now, some early
candy
returns,
thrown at me from Shaquille O'Neal has to be somewhere in there.
Shaq will be joining
somewhere
us.
in there in the house.
Nothing like live television.
There's only
Now listen,
one man.
Some of the early returns raised eyebrows, and although there's some surprise, I'm not even going to read my script. We're going to talk about the early All-Star returns. We've seen the votes as we look at the screen. We see LeBron James over 1 million, but you see Luka Doncic
Without question.
is been playing remarkable basketball, leader of the Rookie of the Year candidate.
Fan vote doesn't make you the best player, but it does make you the most appreciated. I think his appreciation.
Out of all those players there, though.
What? Out of all those players there, what?
We know it's early. Players that you might not expect to be there. Who do you think is definitely going to stick? I'm looking at Luka. I'm looking at Kuzma.
I think you know the great thing about this is again the ups and downs of the Western Conference. You know, in 5 games you could be a 4 seed or 2 seed, or you could be out of the playoffs. So this is a reflection of that. Obviously, Luka Doncic has kind of taken the world by storm because of his excitement he's brought to Dallas, you know, a team that wasn't expected to do this well this early. And for me, Steven Adams is another guy who's jumped into this conversation about being an all-star, which is well-deserved, you know, what he's doing in Oklahoma City and what they are doing. So I'm excited to see some new faces in there. 2 guys that we didn't expect. Obviously, James Harden should be jumped way up, but this might have been done 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
You know, some of these votes were done when Rockets were nowhere near the playoff contention. So, like I said, in a week, it was all good just a week ago.
That's what Jay-Z said.
No, Kenny said that.
Well, Kenny said that too as well.
Jay-Z repeated it.
Queensbridge in the building. Looking at the West guards, Derrick Rose, we saw he was an all-star back in the day, the youngest MVP ever. Now he's sitting with all these votes as the second guard. Right now he would be a starter.
I love it.
No,
he won't hold on.
You don't think so?
James Harden is going to slide in, but Derrick Rose is playing all-star basketball. But I just love the fact that the fans have appreciated and appreciating what Derrick Rose has done. I've been a Derrick Rose fan from day one. For me, I'm excited to see that. I'm hoping that he partakes in the All-Star Weekend in some capacity. I'm just happy to see a guy who people are counted out and says, no, I count on myself. And that it's just great to see Derrick play well.
Great to see him playing well. Gave us that 50-point gem earlier this year, playing great. You know who used to play great? He is an MVP. He is a Hall of Famer. The big fellas in the building. Go ahead, dance on them one time. Dance on them one time. Represent for them Qs.
Okay.
It's all about 1911 in here. Shouts out to the Noops as well. Diesel Dunks is coming up. Game time. Shaq, smile for him one time now. There you go.